All right, go ahead and pull up some floor. Grab a non-slippery surface. We're going to do some sun salutations to get the body moving, circulation pumping. So begin with your simple standing pose. Let me adjust this so you can see better. Begin just with standing. So bend the knees, mounds of big toes pressing, big toes touching. Reach through your inner heels. So we want to occupy your full body awareness, occupy your feet. So expand your toes in all 10 directions. Reach through the toe tips. Good. Inhale. Draw the front of the thigh to the back of the thigh. Open the back of the thigh so that we can get to the inner body, the core. Draw your inner groin towards the wall behind you and release that tailbone down. Inhale. Take the arms up, arms overhead, and see if you can reach your arms behind your ears. Now, again, we want to get to that inner body. So pressing through the mounds of the big toes, draw the tailbone to the floor, reach out the top center of the head. Exhale, bend forward, looking upward. You can always bend your knees to get the round out of the back. Inhale, looking up, navel to the spine. Exhale, walk your hands forward into downward dog. And go ahead, let's get into this properly. So knees underneath your pelvis. Point your hands out slightly. And we're going to work on getting this external rotation of your arms and your shoulders. So go ahead, spread the bottom of your palms wide, reach through your fingertips. Press through the mound of your pointer finger, the mound of your thumb. Lift slightly from the palm where the palm meets the wrist, lifting that up towards the ceiling. And now our hands are our foundation, right? So we're going to work from foundation up. Press through the hands equally. We can really work through the shoulders, the scapulas. And so your scapulas are the shoulder blade. And then there's the southern tip of your shoulder blade. You can feel it. Go ahead and draw that southern tip towards the earth, towards the floor. So yeah, we're going to work on resetting the shoulders. So it's an external rotation of the arms. Shoulders over wrists. Keep going with that external rotation, external rotation, external rotation, which is going to strengthen the neck. And it will also help you to engage the muscle to the bone. So this area can be, we can lose our access to it, our connection to it. So you're going to engage the muscle to the bone in the underarm. And it's going to start with that spreading of the hands, spreading your 10 fingers wide. Press through the mound of each finger, the ball of each finger. Lift that center wrist where the palm and the wrist meet. Reach that up towards the ceiling. And as you get that external rotation of your arms, lengthen your neck long. Have your face parallel with the floor, lengthen the top of the head. And now we're going to go into the pose. So curl your toes. Exhale, extend backwards. And you're finding that length in your side waist through the pressure of your hands. Good. So we want to get this traction in the spine on a daily basis. Remember to press through the mound, the ball of the pointer finger. You can always bend your knees to get the round out of the back. Equal pressure in the hands. And now just continue to lengthen your side waists. Making room for our organs, our liver. And just pretend that you have support, that someone is holding at your hips and helping you to gently pull backwards, making more space in the spine. So hands are firmly grounded, and yet your hips are reaching back behind you towards the wall behind you. Good. And then exhale, knees back down. Good. We're gonna come. You wanna have your thumbs right at the breast line, the nipple line. So lying flat, toes pointed. And here we're gonna train the shoulders as well and the spine. So you wanna make space in your lower back. Go ahead and draw that tailbone towards your toe tips. Tailbone towards your toe tips, good. Now reach through your toe tips. You'll feel an opening across your heart, across the back of your spine. So reach, reach, reach. You're growing taller, longer. And pretend that your toe tips are actually growing. Good. And now that heart is open. So you're rolling the top shoulder down your back towards your glutes. And your glutes are chasing towards your heels. And your elbows are reaching towards your toes. And your heart, your chest is lifting, opening. Roll the top shoulders down and back. Roll the top shoulders down and back. So again, we have to train here. Moving through any physical discomfort, any aching, grueling, any muscles that have atrophied that are clicking back on. Remember, we never want sharp pain, but any aching, grueling pain, that's what we're actually working on. That's what we're moving through. And the only way to move through it is to face it. So heart lifting, shoulders rolling down and back. Now we're gonna exhale and lift upwards. So this one is not going into your lower back. You're drawing your glutes towards your toes. The back of the sacrum is reaching towards the front of the pelvis. Reach through your toe tips, extend through the top of your head, the center top of your head. If you can look up, look up. And then exhale. You're like a snake. You're just moving the spine. It's getting that undulation. And then arms forward, forehead on the ground. Forehead forward. Arms reaching forward. Press the hands. And again, we want to bring awareness to the brain, to the body by reaching through all 10 fingertips. Fingers are growing longer. Now really press through your ring finger. And see if you can close any gaps between your fingers and the floor. So if I were to shine a flashlight underneath your hands, underneath your fingers, we wouldn't want that light to come through the other side. You want to have that full pressure, full expansion. And we don't want to neglect our finger joints, right? They're so, so important. So we got to work the circulation and the joints of our hands so that they can stay healthy. And then the outer edge of your arm is rolling down towards the floor. The inside edge of your arm is rolling up towards the ceiling. So that's the same thing as saying you're getting an external rotation of your arms. So this is the neck work, the shoulder dissection. Now really focus on your pinky fingers, finding that external rotation in your upper arms. And strategically work through every single finger to address the neck and the shoulders. So press the pinky fingers, forehead's on the floor, plus press the ring fingers, the middle, the pointer, the thumbs. Pinky, ring, middle finger, pointer finger, thumbs. External rotation of the arms to open up the neck and shoulders. Lengthen through the top of your head. And then just see if you can grow a couple inches. Find that full expansion and extension in your spine. And imagine that you have a 40-pound weight sitting right on your sacrum, right on your glutes, drawing the glutes towards floor. So it's going to create an expansion from both ends, like a bow. Glutes drawing down, hands drawing down, finding length in both directions. Good. Exhale. Wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Okay. Good. Again, find that external rotation. So we can actually do so much neck work, readjust the neck, the back of the skull, all of the connecting points. This is such important work. So press through the fingers, lengthen each finger, get that external rotation of your upper arm. So your inside arm is rolling towards your outer arm is rolling towards the back arm. Good, and then we're gonna exhale, roll onto the top of the toe tips again. Exhale back into that downward dog. And again, pretend that someone is pulling from your hips, from your thighs, towards the wall behind you, behind your legs. So draw the front of the thigh to the back of the room, to the back of the thigh. Front of the thigh to the back of the thigh. And again, you might feel some of that aching, grueling pain as you really start to extend the legs, engage the legs, engaging that muscle to the bone. So the bone, the muscle, that's the density. And then you're bringing a current to that density to illuminate it. And that current is your effort. So that's the front of the thigh moving to the back of the thigh. Good. And this is a really stabilizing pose. So you have your right hand, your left hand grounded, your right foot, your left foot grounded. Draw the heels down towards the floor. It's okay if they're not touching the floor. And then again, lift the weight out of your wrists where the wrist meets the center palm. Just lift that point up towards the ceiling. Good. And then find the pressure, find the points of the mounds of the fingers and press into the mounds. So it's completely different work in the shoulders and the neck. And then exhale. Now we have high plank. So hands underneath the shoulders. And again, the foundation is your hands. So equal pressure through your hands as though you're busting through the floor. Right hand pressing through the floor, left hand pressing through the floor. Chin towards your heart, lengthen out the top of your head nice and long. Front of the thigh reaching to the back of the thigh. And then exhale, knees wide. Coming back into that child's pose again. Lengthen. And this one is unbelievably regulating for the nervous system and the brain. So you're getting the center forehead pressing on the floor. Excellent. Now we're going to take our hands into, we're not going to be going up into a shoulder or headstand, but you're going to clasp your hands like such into our classic headstand position. And then you'll see we have one side that we clasp naturally, and then the other side, where the other pinky is on top, feels unnatural. But we're gonna do both sides. And you can watch, but we just want the forearms grounded. And so this ulna bone, you wanna align your wrist and your elbow, and you can feel it, it's kind of a sharp edge of the bone. So we clasp the wrists, we align the wrist and the elbow. Good. In just this preparation, we're doing so much shoulder work. So can we ground both wrists? Again, if I was shining a flashlight under your wrists, there would be no light. So the points of the wrist, the outer edge of your wrists, ground that. And you're just on your knees, hips up. And then we're gonna put the back of our head right in the clasp of our hands. And again, this is amazing for the brain, the skull. So we have all of the plates and the connecting plates in the skull, and those can get misaligned. And what I love about this work is you're actually helping them to rearrange back to their origins. So if you feel the very top of your ears, two fingertips, draw a line to the top of your head. That is the center point in which we're finding our balance from. So use your imagination, your artist's eye from the inside out. Find that pressure on the top of your head and see how it coordinates with the neck, the spine, the pelvis, all the way to the tips of the toes. And it's that pressure, it's gentle but firm, that the body starts to reorganize. That those plates, because they can be just off by a micromillimeter, those plates start to reorganize and come back into balance, which impacts the brain and everything else. So even just starting to build that awareness with the point at the top of your head and the coordination that has with your neck, your vertebra, your spine, your pelvis, again, the tips of your toes. You want all of that connecting up. So that's the point. It's further back than most people think. Again, we're not going up in headstand today, but so many people are doing headstand near their forehead on not in the spot, right? We see people doing headstand right here all the time. It's way back here. It aligns with the tips of your ears. So cross your fingers, get those wrists down. Elbows are slightly wider than your wrists. And then your hands aren't really like a V, you're opening them to cup the back of your head. Okay? So this foundational work is so important. Go ahead, put the top of your head, it's much further back than you think. The tip of the head that meets where the tips of the ears meet. Find that pressure on the center point of your head. Equal balance on your knees, your toes are just pointing back. And then find those two wrist points, right wrist, left wrist. And then right elbow, left elbow. And just breathe here for a moment. And I want you to have a firm pressure in your wrists and your forearms. Okay? And then you have that pressure at the very top of your head, but your weight is not really in your neck, okay? So we're just gonna soften the face, soften the brow, the center brow, soften the side temples, soften the throat, and then work on that firm foundation that is your wrists, the top of the head, and the forearms. And if you can really find that pressure, pressing the wrists into the ground, pressing the forearms, pressing the elbows into the ground, finding that pressure point at the very top of the head, you'll start to feel that everything else already starts to organize without even going up in the pose. So smooth breathing, soften the brow. Find a point of focus to gaze on. So go ahead and have your eyes open. You can look towards your big toes. And you're already, just by doing this foundational work, you're starting to build the musculature that you need in your neck and your shoulders in order to go up into the full pose, which we're not doing today. We got to build the foundations, but your forearms will start to get tired. Again, soften the throat. Again, find that pressure point. It's further back than you think. Draw that imaginary line from the tips of your ears to the top of your head and find that center point. It's about the size of a dime. And just like we practice when we're standing on our feet, we try and get equal balance on the right foot and the left foot. You're trying to get equal pressure on the right side of the skull, the left side of the skull, that back and front. So from that pinpoint at the top of the head, find that occupy equal space. Good. And yes, the arms will fatigue. Next, we want to lift the inner shoulders up towards the ceiling. And it's a strong lift. And the reason we work on that lift so much is because you have to maintain that lift when you're all the way up in the pose. Good. Exhale, come out. Now we're going to do the opposite exchange of the hands. So opposite pinky on top. It's the cross that we do less. And this makes a huge difference, again, in the neck and the shoulders. And it is best if you have rings to take them off because it will impact your pose. So opposite clasp of the hands. Get the hands into a cup, a nice cup for the back of the head. Ground that right wrist and that left wrist. You might find it's much more difficult on this side. And remember, working on the wrist is going to work all the way up into the neck and shoulders. And then find the very top of the head. Draw that imaginary line from the tips of the ears to the top of the head. Bring the back of the head into the clasp of your hands. Press those wrists evenly, equally. Yes, it's going to feel, you're going to get tired. Find that center pressure point. Soften the brow, soften the forehead. And then you're pressing into the floor with your forearms so that your shoulders are lifting up towards the ceiling. Good. And again, we're just building the foundations, the musculature. Helping to reposition our center from the top of the head so that the entire body can reorient around it. Good. And then if you're comfortable, you can lift the knees off the ground, walking the toes towards. So center of the head. Again, the weight is actually in the wrists. You have pressure on the top of the head, but the weight is not in the neck. It's in the wrists and the forearms and the elbows. And then we're lifting that inner shoulder towards the back of the body, towards the ceiling. And again, just this is so much work. But the brain will start to balance, start to stabilize, start to find that center forehead. And then exhale, back down. Child's pose, forehead on the ground. So this is your integration, and you'll feel it, right? You'll feel the balance in the plates, in the skull. You'll feel that circulation through the different parts of the brain. You'll actually start to feel expansion in the neck and the vertebra. Anywhere that there hasn't been enough space, it starts, as we put just that mild pressure, it starts to expand, it starts to release. It takes that tightness and expands it. So this is where we feel this in this integration pose. And so many of us, just because of life, just because of modern life, we hold so much in our neck and our shoulders and our jaw. So this is that reset button. Again, center forehead on the ground. And it will start to move from your neck down to your thoracic spine, through your shoulders, through your scapula, all the way down the rest of your body. So take that clasp again. Go ahead and do what feels like your normal clasp. Ground the wrists, ground the elbows, open up the palms. Place the back of the head. Hips are just above the knees. So place the back of the head in your palms. And again, we're just working with those foundational pieces of building the strength and the musculature in the hands, in the wrists, in the elbows, in the forearms, in the shoulders, in the spine, so that we have that preparatory work for by the time we do go up into headstands at a future point, you'll have that foundation, you'll have the spaciousness in your joints. So soften the jaw, soften the brow. You can stay here working on those pressure points in your wrists, or if you're comfortable, you can curl your toes, draw your hips up to the sky, walk your toes towards your head. And again, there's some pressure in the top of the head, but it's primarily, especially in the beginning of your practice, primarily in the wrists, the forearms. And you might feel that inner shaking. We're using muscles that we probably have never used before. Smooth breathing. Navel to the spine. Forehead soft, jaw soft. Finding that center pressure point at the top of your head and reaching through the floor to make space in the vertebra. And then exhale, down, forehead back on the floor, child's pose. Take some deep inhalations through your nose. Some of you will feel new muscles activating in your neck, in the back of your head, that occipital ridge. Some of you will feel the jaw releasing, tension that we didn't even know we had there. Some of you will feel new circulation on the right side of the neck and the left side of the neck, drawing all the way through the entire spine. So this is a really important one to move through, common stagnation. That just happens from modern life. That just happens along the spine. And this is recreating that juiciness, that pliability, that circulation, that hydration in the neck and the spine. So the spine is amazing, right? All of the joints, all the ways it can twist and move and bend. We have our side bends, we have our forward bends, we have our back bends, we have our twists, right? And all of this is working on that pliability of the spine, all those joints working independently and together. So it's really amazing when we start to restore those communication pathways in the spine. Okay, so we do need to do the second side again. Again, the crossings of the fingers that feel less normal. Side B again. And if you need to, you can always stay in the child's pose, the restorative pose. And otherwise do side B. So we're just getting the points of the wrists down, the right wrist down, the left wrist down. Just this work, if you just want to work here without the head down, you're already starting to do that establishing foundational work in the shoulders and the wrists. So you can stay here if you need to. And if you're here, you want to spread the shoulders wide. Again, rolling the top shoulder where the neck meets the shoulder, rolling that down the back. You're re-sculpting this musculature, again, which communicates to the whole spine. So we're doing side B, the clasp that feels less normal, right wrist pressing, left wrist pressing. And again, if you're just working here, working on the shoulders, working on the neck, working on the equal pressure of your elbows, your wrists, it's hard to get those wrists down, isn't it? Harder than it seems. But in getting those wrists down, or at least working towards it, we're building the musculature of the neck and the spine. And then if you want to do the next point, head goes, center head goes. The clasp of your hands meets the back of your head, keeping the pressure points of your wrists and your elbows. And again, this alone is super stabilizing and balancing It's like a chiropractic adjustment to the skull bones, again, which do get out of place. So you're just helping them to reorient, finding true north again through gentle pressure in that pressure point. And yes, the arms become fatigued, the wrists become fatigued, so much more than we would think. And again, that's the work. And then if you want to do phase 3, curl the toes, draw the hips straight up, legs straight. And again, here we have that pressure in the center top of the head, but we're trying to take the weight out of the neck and bringing it into the wrists and the forearms. Soften the jaw, front of the thigh reaching to the back of the thigh, reaching through the toe tips and the top of the head. Smooth breathing. Exhale, come down as you're ready. Back into that child's pose, forehead on the floor. Finding that support. And again, this is that reset button where the body can integrate what it's learned. The jaw releases. The muscles in the neck expand and extend and lengthen. We get that circulation flowing through the whole spine. And again, your weight is on the center forehead, the center brow. So find that direct center of your forehead, aligned with your nose, with your chin, with your heart. Let the brain readjust, the plates readjust, the circulation. Good. And then as you're ready, exhale, come up. Isn't that a neat foundational awareness? This time working from the top of the head instead of the bottom of the feet. And so we're going to take this into everything else that we do, into all the other poses. Remember, we learn the points through different poses, but those points translate into every pose. So wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the pelvis, the hips. Press through the mounds of your fingers. And specifically right now, the mound of your pointer finger, the mound of your pinky finger, the mound of your thumbs, and then lift from where your center palm meets your wrist. Lift that up towards the ceiling. And again, you might start getting some percolation in the body as you start to awaken the awareness through the points. So again, where the wrist meets the center palm is lifting towards the ceiling. Good. This is such important wrist work that translates to your elbows, your neck, your shoulders, your spine. So equal pressure in your palms. Lengthen through your 10 fingertips long. Right? So much development happens in the wrists when you lengthen through your fingers. And then equal pressure in your knees. Right? We put so much focus on our hands, we forgot about our knees. Right knee, left knee balanced. And again, we're getting this external rotation of your upper arms. So your outer arm is rolling towards the back of your arm. The back of your arm is rolling towards your inner arm. Your inner arm is rolling towards the front arm. And it's a continuous action, that external rotation, external rotation, external rotation, external rotation. And through that external rotation and the pressure in your hands, you start to re-sculpt the shoulders and the neck. So lengthen out the top of the head. That was our pressure point. Lengthen through the top of the head. Find that external rotation in your arms, muscle to the bone. Remember, we're working with the density of the muscle and the bone. We're bringing the current through it, through these points, to bring illumination, lightness to the body. And you're working from the periphery of the body, the external body, the skin, working all the way into the bones, working into the cells. Good. Soften the face, soften the jaw. And now see how many of how much of this awareness you can keep as you extend your hips back. You can look up, take the navel to the spine, keep that external rotation of your arms, front of the thighs reaching to the back of the thigh. And the reason I'm looking up is to get the opening behind the heart, behind the thoracic spine. So I'm looking up, keeping that external rotation of the arms. And it's really hard, but find that pressure point of the mound of your pointer finger. And lift the weight up towards the ceiling from your center wrist, your center palm. Now take the muscle to the bone in your legs. Go ahead and look back down, align your center ear hole with your center arms. Let the neck hang long. And now find that triangulation, the pressure of your hands, reaching out the top of the head, and the pressure of your feet. Let the navel come to the spine. And again, we're trying to find that equal pressure in the right hand, the left hand, the right foot, the left foot. Because when we aim for that balance, the whole body starts to reorganize back to its north node, back to center. And then again, exhale, calm down, knees wide, forehead on the floor. Move your glasses if you have them. Let the jaw soften. Great. Come on up. So we can really rearrange, reorganize the body back to center, back to baseline through any one of these poses, right? Working slowly, working strategically. So go ahead and come lying on your side. Good. Come lying on your side. So we brought a lot of awareness to the top of the head. Now we're going to work on the side body, the side waist, the side legs. So I'm laying on my left side. Let's work together on the left side. And align your left ankle bone, the outside ankle bone, with the center of the outside of your knee, with the center outside edge of your hip. This one's hard to coordinate. The center of your rib cage. Most of us, our rib cage is forward. You're going to have to draw it back to find that center rib cage and align it with your center hip. It's further back than you think. So that's already, we're like kind of finding a razor line like a tightrope that we're walking. Center ankle, center knee, center hip, center rib. It gets even harder. Center shoulder. Now center elbow, and you can have your arm flat, straight, or under your head. So the tendency is to cheat, not on purpose, but your body doesn't want to fall. So it creates a curve so that we don't fall. But instead, we're creating that tightrope, that straight line. So outside ankle, center knee. And again, we're bringing that current to the body through these points. So front of the knee to the back of the knee, front of the thigh to the back of the thigh. You want to get to the center of your bone. Front of the thigh to the back of the thigh, center of your femur bone. Let those big toes touch, press through the mounds of the big toes. Reach your big toes long. Soften the jaw, soften the face. Find gladness, appreciation from the inside out. Because remember, the pose is really never about perfection. We're just finding these points to come back inward, to come back home. And it takes that dedication and that work to move through pain that is existing, both in the physical body and the emotional body. And you're facing it full on just by extending through your limbs. And then you move to the other side of it. You will, I promise, you will move to the other side of the discomfort, the other side of the pain. And you just keep that extension, working again from the periphery to the inner body. So much toning is happening. I know we're just lying here, but we're finding so much toning working from that periphery to the innermost body. Now, if you can take the right hand and put it on top of your pelvis instead of using it to stabilize, whatever you need, but that's the next phase. So press to the mounds of the big toes, the inner heels, front of the shin to the back of the leg, front of the knee to the back of the knee, front of the thigh to the back of the thigh. It's really strong work. Bringing that circulation, that current. Now, focus on the back of the pelvis. The sacrum is actually reaching to the front pelvis. Sacrum is reaching to the front of the pelvis. Front of the thighs are reaching to the back of the thighs. So you have two opposing actions there that create that dynamism, that dynamic pose. Now we got to bring the third point in. Front of the ribs reaching to the back of the room. Front ribs reaching to the back ribs. Front ribs reaching to the back ribs. Front ribs reaching to the back ribs. The back ribs are the humble body. Front ribs reaching to the back ribs. Now can we integrate the three? It's hard with the balance. Front of the thighs reaching to the back of the thighs. Back of the sacrum reaching to the front of the sacrum. Front of the ribs reaching to the back ribs. Can you integrate all three at once? Then you find that steady current throughout the whole body. That awakening, that enlivening, that circulation. right? We're going from like a stagnant pond to a flowing river with a current, right? And that's where the healthiest ecosystems thrive, in those currents. Cleaning up from the inside out. Okay, let's go one step deeper. Front of the throat to the back of the throat. Top of the shoulder rolling down the back towards the pelvis. Glutes chasing towards the heels. And yes, the fatigue is coming. It's real. But it's so important to open up those side legs, bring that circulation into the side legs, into the knee joints. Exhale, soften. Let's do the other side. So you can simply roll to the other side. I'm going to face you. So I'm going to go onto the right side. Okay. Side body. We integrated the top body. Let's integrate the side body. So right ankle bone. Pressing. Align your center knee with your center ankle. You got to work as an artist, draw those imaginary lines. Now take the center hip bone, align with the center knee. Okay, center rib cage. Bring it way back for most of us to get with an alignment with that center hip. Okay, now center armpit, center shoulder. And now the tricky one. Most of us are elbows forward, right, to keep us balanced. Center elbow with the center armpit, with the center rib, with the center hip, center knee, center ankle. You can use your hand to stabilize you, to help you balance. This is like a side balancing pose. We'll often do the one-legged balancing poses. This is the side balancing pose. And you got to work from your feet to your head and everything in between. And then if you can bring that other hand on top. Woo! This side's harder for me. Usually we have one side that's harder than the other. So that's good. That means I really need to work on this side. I'm going to get a lot from this side by working on it. Soften the jaw, soften the throat, open the heart, bring that childlike awe, childlike play, childlike curiosity, that inner gladness, that inner gratitude that radiates out. Bring those qualities to your work today. Center ankle, center knee. Okay. Now let's bring the current to this pose. So we want to work with the density of the legs, the bones, the muscle, the tissue, and we want to use that to build the current. So draw the front of the body to the back of the body, the front of the thighs to the back of the thighs, the front of the knee to the back of the knee, the front of the shin to the back of the shin. Legs are working strong. Now bring the sacrum, the back of the pelvis, to the front of the pelvis. But don't lose the thighs moving backwards. Those are the opposing actions. Sacrum forward, thighs back. Now we got to bring the third action point in. Front ribs reaching to the back ribs. Front ribs reaching to the back ribs. The back ribs are the humble body. The whole back body is the humble body. That's the body we want to work on. That's the body we want to develop, give our attention to. Okay, center ankle, center knees, center hips, center ribs, center armpits, center elbow, thighs back, sacrum forward, ribs back. I was reading Iyengar's book, Light on Life, these past couple days, and he said something so cool because he has this beautiful mind and beautiful way of explaining the work that we're actually doing here. This, you feel it, the translation from your practice into real life, and how that translates for you, whether it's more joy or more spaciousness in our reactions, whatever it is for you. You notice it over time. But he had this beautiful way of explaining when you add in the 3 points. With 2 points, we have tension, but we also have duality. With 3 points, from a mathematical perspective, that's when you start to get into uh, infinite expression. So from duality into 3 into infinity. I just loved that expression, but when you feel it in your body, how much more opens up when you get to those 3 points. It starts to bring the whole body together. He's very much a philosopher and a mathematician. 1/3 art, 1/3 philosophy, 1/3 science. And we bring that to our poses, the anatomical structure, the science, the philosophy, bringing that gladness, that gratitude, and then that art, finding that inner line, right? Good job. So we're working the side spine, the side neck, the side body, and we're bringing that awareness to the back body. So the front of the thighs reaching to the back of the thighs, the sacrum reaching to the front pelvis or the front of the room, the front ribs reaching to the back body. And then remember, take the full line all the way through. So press through the mounds of the big toes, extend out the center top of the head. It was so good to build that relationship today, right, with the top of your head. So you can start to translate that into all your other poses. Mounds of big toes pressing, inner heels, reach through your toe tips. You can always put your head down if you need that straight line. That's even harder. Now you've got your center armpit and your center elbow and your center wrist. So this is really good balancing work. And what happens anytime we do balancing work, we activate that current, that inner current. We start to bring stabilizing muscles that we've never used before. In order to balance, like if you're balancing on your ankles, you'll see your ankles do those fast twitch muscles, which translates all the way into the spine. Same in your body. Your body's calibrating, trying not to fall over, trying to balance. It's calibrating every second, which is bringing back that elasticity to the tissues, the elasticity to the organs, and the elasticity to the spine. So think of a rubber band that's been overstretched and lost its elasticity, and then bringing it back to a rubber band that has that full elasticity, that full bounce. So it can extend and it can come back and it can extend and can come back. That's what the balancing poses are teaching us. Good. Exhale. Slowly come on out. Oh, I totally went 5 minutes over. Okay, so coming back to your seat. I know if you have to jump, you have to jump. Sorry, I try and end before the top of the hour. But if you have a moment, just get on your center sit bones, get in your center spine. Feel that inner current from all of that work that you did today. That is that illumination from the inside out. So keep that jaw soft, the throat soft, the center brow soft. And just notice, do you feel more elasticity in your spine? Do you feel more connection to the top of your head, your neck, your shoulders, your pelvis? So great, great, great work today. Palms together. Let's end in that appreciation, gratitude, gladness from the inside out. Let's carry that into everything else we do. Connect with that inner current, that energy of that electricity. Just see if there's a little bit more buoyancy or lightness in your body and in your day. Love you all. Can't wait to see you next week. I'm working on some really, really fun projects. I hope to bring some simple 10-minute practices, daily practices. So I'll be rolling those out soon. Yay. Thanks for staying on extra today.
Wow, that was awesome. Wow, I can just still feel all my cells. It was awesome. And in the beginning, I really wasn't present mentally. And I know that when I'm not present mentally, I'm not doing the practice the way I should. But then I finally got into it. And you're right, this does translate into my everyday life, and it's just beautiful. And I didn't know whether you had a moment to expound on the proper way to do the headstands. I used to do that all the time. It was so beneficial to my holistic journey. I didn't know if you had a moment to expound on the proper way to
Yes,
do it.
I do. Yes, I do. Do you have any specific questions?
Well, I just never thought of it. You said you're not supposed to be up here, you're supposed to be back there. And typically I am back there, but I just, wanted to know the proper way to do the
Yeah.
headstand.
The anatomical way to find it is the tip of the ear. Imagine you have 12 tips, tip of the ear, draw a line to the top of the head where your two fingertips meet. My two fingertips are pressing. That's the center top of the head.
Wow. Okay.
It's so
Okay.
different than where we commonly hold
Ooh.
headstand from.
Wow. Yeah, that is a little bit different than what I was doing. Okay.
Yeah, and another way
Thank
to
you.
think about it is here's the center top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hand here, but it pretty much drops off to the back of the head.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And again,
Mm-hmm.
working with without putting much pressure, but starting to build and develop uh, the musculature that will support the spine. Because so often people will go into headstand without any preparation. And so we want
Mm.
to have, because the vertebrae of the neck are teeny tiny, and so we don't want them to get squished. We want the spine to have the proper musculature that has to develop
Okay.
over time. So that's why doing that preparatory work develops that, so that then those little vertebrae are actually being protected and strengthened rather than compressed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks. You explain it so well. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Hmm.
Good job,
Yeah.
Mel.
Yeah. Yeah. She was my when we were doing that when we had the downward dog and then we had to go up on our on our toes. I was like, I can't do this today. And then I looked at Mel and I was like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. So I did it.
Oh no, I love it. I
Thank you,
know
Mel.
it really does challenge us outside
Yeah.
of comfort
Yeah.
zone, but that is that's the work.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
Good work. Thank you all.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Love
Have a
you.
blessed day.
You
Bye
too.
bye. Okay. Thank you. Bye.